So basically, the story, as we come full circle, that salesperson telling their buyer they don't need an inspector is full of BS.
Welcome to season 3 of the Real Estate Replay. How we've made it this far without the real estate industry telling us to stop talking, I don't know. This season, we're not only sharing seller and buyer horror stories, but we're also helping to expose how this industry works and how all of these companies are making money off of you. It's all the things this industry doesn't want you to know, but we would like you to know to better protect yourself when buying and selling a home.
So the title of this one is New Build Discouraging Us from Hiring an Inspector. This builder is building new construction. They reached out to their sales rep to schedule a third-party inspection and got a 2-paragraph email telling them why they probably don't need to. From the sales rep, they talked how the builder is a publicly held company and didn't become number one from harming the public. And then they went on to say, in my opinion, home inspections on brand new homes are a waste of time and money since it's warranted by the builder. I have some thoughts on that. We'll get to that one. Furthermore, it has been inspected every step of the way by county inspectors that know building codes. We'll talk about that. But more importantly, she went on to say, think about this. One can take an online course on how to become a home inspector and get a certificate. Most, if not all, inspection reports state the liability on their part is up to the cost of the inspection. In other words, if the inspector missed something or misrepresented something, they're only liable for the cost you paid. She went on and on and on to tell them why it's stupid to get a home inspection, and then quoted it out as, let me know what you decide as it's your call. So I have built a home, so I've got a lot of thoughts on this. But to help me today, I have brought on my friend Robb with 2 B's, Williams, who is a real estate in Central Alabama, to help me dissect not only this BS 2-paragraph thing they sent to the buyer, but all in all, the new construction industry. Robb and his brothers actually started their own construction company in 97. He also started his own concrete business in 2009. So he likes to tell people he knows real estate from the foundation up. What did I miss, Robb? Is there anything else you'd like to tell people? I want them to know how much of a background you have in this, because you're probably the perfect person to ask about the new construction world.
Right. No, you hit all the high points. I started in development in Central Alabama area in Birmingham in 1995. So we did a little bit of pre-development for a lot of the tract builders before my brother and myself went into business for ourselves in 1997. I was a concrete specialist. So I am a foundation specialist and hold every certification you can as far as foundation and concrete. And I've retired from that and gone into real estate selling full time.
Okay, awesome. And that's why I picked you, other than our chat on TikTok. Everyone I have on here now is like my TikTok friend. I don't know how that happened. I think I've got a lot of opinions on this. Do I need an inspection on a new build? But I want to kind of start from the beginning, because I think there's a lot of repetitive questions I see online about building new construction that I think maybe different topics that we probably need to address, because people have questions. People don't understand certain things. And I'd also love to know, like, what makes builders the most money? What do you think is a waste to invest in? What isn't? So I'm going to pick your brain. To get started, your thoughts. Do you need an agent for a new build instead of using the sales agent?
And the question is an absolute yes.
Okay. And why?
Well, technically, if you're not using a buyer's agent on a new build, the builder's agent is in dual agency at that point in time. Mm-hmm. And there is no one representing your best interest at that point in time. That builder's agent is there to represent the best interest of the builder, and does not represent the consumer's best interest.
Essentially, the salesperson works for the builder, and they're trying to get you in and out, make a lot of money off of you, and send you on your way without an inspection. Apparently,
it's the in-house agent's job to get the most money for that builder.
Right. And then I think it's important to say, if you do decide to use a real estate agent for a new construction, like, you need to loop them in from the very beginning, because if you go to the builder without an agent and you look at models there's a chance that they'll be like, well, sorry, your agent didn't bring you, you brought yourself. We're not paying your agent commission. So like, if you decide to use an agent in this process, you got to loop them in from the very beginning before that builder even gets your information, because they'll say, sure, you can use one, but like, we're not paying you, or it's just going to be messy. So like, if you're going to use one, you got to figure that out before you approach them.
That's correct. At first contact with that builder, you need to mention that you have an agent and sign them up so they can, because the builder, at times, the builders will make a play to cut the commission out from the agent. You still use an agent, the builder's just not going to pay them. And you need them in there from the beginning. And most good agents can help you pick the best lot, can help you pick obviously the best neighborhoods, and can point you to the right builders. I mean, and every builder is not for every customer. Obviously, every community is not for every customer. The correct buyer's agent can point you in the right direction and steer you away from problem builders.
Right. We have a few of those here. We have a problem. I shouldn't say problem builder. I can't say who they are because, I don't want to get sued. But like, we have a builder that does not have the most wonderful reputation. My friend built a home with them and has had to redo so much stuff. And they are building this neighborhood that is starting in the $700,000 mark. And I'm like, I can't fathom, knowing what they build and what they use to build, that I would pay that much. Obviously, I can't say their name. But if you live in my area and in the Pittsburgh area, you know who I'm talking about. So, I know that I think Alabama, buyer rebates are like not legal there, correct?
That's correct.
Right. So I will say, like, in states where they are legal, there's like 40, 41 states. I think Louisiana decided they could do it. I believe if you have never had your agent show you a home, sure, and your builder is offering a decent commission, I think it's fair to like have a conversation with your agent about maybe a small rebate of that commission. Not every agent's going to do it, but I think it's worth pointing out. Like, if your agent showed you 20 homes and then you decided to build a new home, maybe not. That might not be appropriate. But like, if you have never used your agent before, you want representation, and the builder's offering like 3%, and they're only walking you through the new build, like, it's the discussion you can have. I know not every agent will do it. Not every agent agrees with it, but like, I just wanted to bring that up. What I wanted to ask is like, what should you expect from your real estate agent if you use one in the new build process? Because I have had people tell me they had someone who was completely hands-on, helped them the whole way through. And then I've had a buyer recently who like didn't hear from their agent the minute they signed the contract. And then when it came time to close, their agent was like, hey, I need you to sign this paper so they get their commission. Like, didn't hear from them for 6 months. And they're like, wait a minute. So like, what is the expectation? What should your agent be doing in a new build process?
See, that's so hard for me to understand that, because I'm probably going to do more than anybody, an agent, because I know the process from start to finish. Mm-hmm. I mean, my last agent, I actually staked their different models on the lots so they could choose which
really?
They wanted. And they got that for free, so they got a little bit extra from me,
right,
being the fact that I have a building background. Mm-hmm. And at the very least, even amongst my peers, we have agents walking through the site, through the house once a week, taking pictures, at critical stages. And we encourage the customer to come through at least once a week or so. Now, the builder may have different parameters where they have times that you can visit, and you don't need to be there every day, because a customer on the job site is going to slow your build down. You don't want to show up the customer doesn't want to show up every day. So I think once a week is great to just note progress and make sure everything's happening like it is. Pre-drywall, when they rough in your slab, make sure everything's in the right place. Take pictures before the drywall and the insulation goes up. Take pictures so you know where everything is. In case somebody needs to locate something, you have that. You make sure all your bathrooms, your stub outs, everything are in the right spot, just to make sure progress is happening the way it's supposed to happen.
So it's interesting too, because we were lucky. We lived, when we built, very close to the property. So we would go like a couple of times a week. And it's interesting because it'll look like nothing's being done. And then the next day you're like, oh my God, I have walls. Like, I don't know where that came from. And then, and And it's interesting too, because when you walk through before the drywall goes up, it feels so small. I don't know why. I have no idea. Maybe it's just me. But I remember like without the drywall up and nothing on the floor, I was like, this doesn't feel like the right size. Like, should I measure this? But then when everything's put in place, it looks totally fine. But it's just interesting how quickly it can change. And then you'll go weeks where you're like, nobody's here. Nobody's been here all day. Like, what are they doing? But it's just the process, right?
And sometimes that's the truth.
Yeah.
Nobody has been through it. And then bam. And sometimes they're waiting on a certain trade to get finished so everybody else can move forward. And that trade is stuck somewhere else. And once that trade gets in there and finishes what he needs to do, everybody can slam it after that. I mean, nothing happens till that concrete man gets his slab in there. Once you get walls, once you get a roof in, you can rock and roll, and weather's not going to bother you for the most part. So you get those certain types of delays like that. And your agent, and another thing we didn't mention, your agent can set realistic expectations about the process. I mean, you can read all you want to. That's not the way it's going to happen. Same thing for an inspection. We get an inspection on resales and it comes up and it's 37 pages and you're like, oh my God, this house is awful. And the inspector says, this is one of the best houses I've ever inspected. You have to have realistic expectations about what things truly mean, what's important and what's not important.
Man, I bet you'd be fun to take on an inspection because I bet you can spot some stuff out real quick. They're like, that doesn't look right.
We do. And listen, I encourage my customers to go through because, I mean, stuff happens. The wrong cabinets get delivered to the wrong house, and that contractor may not be the one in the office that's reading that order, and his cabinets show up, and that van of people are putting those cabinets in, and they're the wrong cabinets. And the stuff, it happens. We've always encouraged people to double check. It's a much easier conversation to say, no, these are correct, than to figure out they're on the wall and we have to replace them after the fact.
I will say an accident did work in our favor because they put French doors in our office and we didn't order them. And my husband and I are like, I'm not saying anything. So we didn't say anything and they didn't say anything. And I'm like, all right, well, just take that. I guess no one's going to say anything. Not my problem.
And when it works in your favor, it usually works out that way because it usually costs more to change it back out. So they're going to just leave it.
Just leave it.
And go
right. I'm like, they have to know. They have to know. And no one's going to say it. I'm not going to say it.
I've seen concrete and patio additions work out in people's favor many times because the crews come out there and they've either gotten the wrong house or nobody's gone over exactly what that patio is supposed to get. And patios are huge upgrades on these houses. All these houses come with 6x6 patios, which you can't even park a grill on. I'm excited to talk about that because I think I want to talk about picking the right model. What I didn't know when we built is that the ad that they put out in front of you is like the Virginia model, and it shows you with the front porch and the hardy plank and the shutters and the craftsman windows. And it says starting at like $400,000. But when you go and meet with them, you realize that was like the Virginia model elevation F. And that starting price is the Virginia model elevation A. That does have vinyl siding. It doesn't have the hardy plank. It doesn't have the front porch. It doesn't even have a roof over the stoop of the front porch or of your front door. And so that caught me off guard. The whole bait and switch, like, look at this beautiful home. This model starts at $400,000, but the starting price includes jack shit. Like it includes nothing. Sorry, my potty language, but listen.
But I was like, wait a minute. You're in construction. You've heard
from
it
the
all.
Construction industry. My wife warns me every day.
Yeah. So I think that's really important. The model in which it's presented to you on pictures, the model that you walk through has every bell and whistle you could ever imagine, and it is not the starting price. So like, what do you think people should be budgeting for upgrades? I think that's a more important question that I didn't tell you I was going to ask you. But when you're preparing to look at a model, what do most people spend in upgrades?
Well, first thing, what I want to say is I'm of two opinions. There is a little bit of there is a bait and switch in that model. That is correct. For 25 years, we've gone and toured neighborhoods, and I laugh because you see the sign out front of the neighborhoods that say homes starting at $385. Right. It means that there is no home in there is $385. You're going to start at $435, getting the basic thing. The purpose of a model home is to showcase the best the builder has to offer. Now, whether that's that probably is a bait and switch with a little bit of the marketing, but in a lot of cases, I don't think that's the builder's intent. They're there to showcase the best that they have.
Mm-hmm.
But there is no house in a neighborhood that is the base model of everything anybody offers. If it is, it's a unicorn. It does not exist.
So the starting at price is definitely not what you're going to be starting at.
No, I joke, and really, realistically, depending on the level. And again, I'm in Birmingham, so you'd be hard pressed to find a new build that was $250 in Birmingham, even 25 minutes away. So we're probably starting in the low 300s, and where I am in Hoover, there's not a new build that's literally under 500,000.
Oh wow, okay.
So we
nothing
have
like affordable housing, huh? Let's build more houses that are affordable. Starting at $500,000. Totally affordable. Totally.
I say I came back from college and I couldn't move to where I grew up. I had to go 30 miles away to where I could afford it.
Yep.
But that being said, honestly, I truly think to have a home that you're going to enjoy, even in the $350,000 range, you're going to pay $35,000 to $50,000 in upgrades to get something that you're happy with.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we do have a builder that kind of focuses on first-time builders that does not offer very many trim packages, and their motto is they're offering the most square footage for the money, and they offer very little extras, and that's what they're gearing toward the first time customer. Mm-hmm. They can either upgrade on their own or is not interested in the upgrades for pure money savings.
Well, which isn't a bad idea. I mean, and I think I'm glad you brought that up, because that was my next question. So we got like 55 pages of upgrades in their pricing. I don't think we were supposed to get that, but we literally just had them printed out and took it home. So I want to know from you, with all of these upgrades, what items or upgrades do you think are overpriced by the builder, or what would be cheaper for you to do on your own later?
Well, most of the large things would be cheaper to do on your own later. But I'm of a different opinion also that when you get it during the new construction, it gets rolled into your mortgage. Mm-hmm. So even though there is an upcharge, and everybody's got to make a living. Now, some of the upcharges are a little bit more, but the people that like the convenience, but stuff like fixtures and stuff like that, it's definitely an easy upgrade on your own. Mm-hmm. And they're not too expensive. So something like that, fixtures, paint if you want to. For a new build, the flooring, I would go with the best you felt like you could afford.
I will say we made a mistake when we built, because we didn't have kids at the time. We had one dog. Now we have two, which I'm surprised they're not in here bothering me. I'm sure they'll make an appearance at some point. So we had no kids. We had one dog, and we picked this wood flooring because we really wanted. We had to have wood floors. I don't know. And so we picked like the one we could afford, which was not the most durable and has gotten so badly damaged, because now we have two kids, we have two dogs, and now we're like, oh my God, it's like splintering. It's really bad. I wish I would have thought ahead. Like, you can't predict what your future is, but if you're planning on having kids, I wish I would have gotten, is it that vinyl that looks like wood? And like is super durable, like, and you can just like Sharpie it up if it gets messed up. Like
that is, and we have made huge strides in that. That is a great product now, and even in some of the base models, it looks fantastic. 15 years ago, it was awful, and now it looks
the
improved vinyl, and it's a great product.
Right. So it's like everybody wants that Instagram worthy home. But you got to be realistic about like, hey, I'm going to be paying on this for 30 years. Like, is it worth it now? Should I do it later? Although, like, I think my dogs and my kids will always damage our floors. So maybe it's a long shot. But I thought it was interesting because we looked at right now when we built, and not like 5 years ahead, and didn't strategically think about like the laundry room, the size of it, the size of the garage, which I want to get to. because I don't understand why they're so small. But so, all right. So you think fixtures, lighting, all that stuff, probably cheaper to do on your own.
That's correct.
Okay. So what are things that you should be spending money on during the build process?
Well, anything you don't want to fool with. And I spoke to my brother a little bit. My brother was our licensed builder for the time we were in business together. And he actually, when times got tough after the crash, 2007, 2008, 2009, on full-time job, he worked for a tract builder, and we still built a couple of homes with the business on the side. So he's got experience with custom building and the tract builder. And a couple of things he said was if they offer a premium roofing or a premium roof covering, that's if you're going to be in your home for a while, that is definitely worth the money. Something like the upgraded insulation, if they offer that, and some of the builders do not offer that, but they offer that, then he said that is definitely worth your money. Those two things are two things that he would do if he was purchasing a new home from a tract builder that offered it: the insulation and the improved roofing materials.
Okay. What about structural, like front porch? Or I was adamant that we needed to have a front porch. We do not use our front porch. We have not used our front porch in like 10 years. And I was like, I don't know why I was pushing for that. But maybe things like the size of your rooms, the height of the ceiling, all stuff that you obviously cannot change. Or if you were going to try to, it's going to cost you a ton of money, right?
Right.
Like structural.
Yeah, anything structural like that, it's best. It's going to be the cheapest to get it in at that point in time. And even I say concrete, if you're doing if you want to add to that driveway, want that bigger patio, even though it's going to be an upcharge, it's going to be the cheapest, most convenient to do it at that new build. Because if you bring in a concrete contractor, you may get the concrete cheaper, you may get his labor cheaper, but everything you're going to go through, from taking down your fence to fixing your yard, everything else, those kind of bigger projects, especially the structural projects, are best to be done at the time of the new construction, just at convenience and the cost factor. I mean, it's easier for me to add, if we're doing concrete, it's easier for me to add 10 foot to the driveway while we're doing that driveway than it is to come back and excavate again, take the sod out and everything else. So the big projects and structural projects, I would say, do at new construction, but because of the cost, the ease of it, and everybody's in place. It's a construction site already. You don't have to make it a construction site anymore.
The one thing I'm glad we did wait on was putting on a deck. So we had like that slider door to nowhere for like a year, but we didn't know how we were going to use the space. Like I didn't think about like where the sun was going to be. And so, and it also, you were very limited when we built on like your deck options, and we were able to wait and kind of save up and kind of do something unique for our house that fits better for what we'd like, but again, I guess it's personal choice, but sometimes I think those big expensive things outside, like you might want to see how you use your yard before if you're extending patios and stuff, absolutely. But some of the stuff, I feel like you can probably wait a little bit and kind of figure out what you really want.
That's great. Landscaping and especially a deck. I mean, I'm glad you mentioned it, especially the deck. I mean, here in the South, we do use our decks, especially elevated decks. We don't have a true winter period, so we use our decks and we use our front porches all the time. So I would get a basic, a deck that you could use. And then that's something you look at upgrading. And we have some fantastic and phenomenal decks here because people entertain on our decks. So, and that's an easier process because you're not tearing up the yard. You're not, it's not a true construction site. You're for a week, you've got where you can't go out your back door. So, I mean, a deck is something you can definitely, and that's something that the builder is going to upcharge. And if you want to cover that deck or you want to expand that deck, then that's something that I would suggest having done after the fact.
Okay. The one thing, can you tell me why garages are so freaking small? Why are like you at this point for a family of 4? Okay. Again, when we built, we didn't have kids. So I had no idea how much stuff comes with children. And so we're at the point, we had a 2-car garage that seemed like on paper, it was plenty of space. Right. When you pull in, only one of you can open your door. and you cannot open it the whole way. And when it's nice outside, like it is now, one of us has to park outside. There's no option, like between the bikes and the toys and the stuff and the shoes and the coats and everything else. I'm like, I wish we would have thought about the size of the garage, because obviously it's not something we can really do now, or it cost a crap ton of money to do so. Why? Can you tell me why are garages so small? Why? I don't get it. What are they doing?
Do you know what size your garage is?
Of course I don't. I mean, I can look it up on page. It's small. The size is small.
And again, and it may be regional. A lot of what we do, our standard garages, even for some of our smaller houses, you're going to get a smaller garage. There's going to be a 1.5 car garage, but we get a kind of our standard garage is going to be a 20 by 20 or a 20 by 21, and you get both cars in there. But there's not a lot of storage in just a standard garage. Now your basement's different. Your basement. I don't know what you guys have where you are, but a basement home is a big thing here. We have in a lot of our luxury neighborhoods, a lot of our higher end neighborhoods, basement homes can make up a large portion of the homes in there, and they're going to have their large basements. They're going to have unfinished area or finished area, and they're going to have storage. And a lot of them are going to have their little going to have their golf cart space over here too. So
you Southern people in your golf carts. I'm so jealous. My friend lives in Woodstock, Georgia, and they all have golf carts, and they all just putt around and go to someone's house. And I'm like, must be nice. Unless mine had snow tires, I probably wouldn't be doing that in Pittsburgh. But I'm envious. I'm envious of you and your golf carts.
Well, 12 years ago, I got a couple of golf carts for the kids, and we were considered rich. And now, if you don't have a pimped out golf cart where you are in some of the neighborhoods, you're considered low life. So,
oh God, I didn't realize golf carts were like a status symbol. Okay, speaking of basements, can we go back real quick?
Sure.
Would you recommend people finish their basement, or should they wait? Is there like a major upcharge when people finish their basement?
There is a major upcharge.
Okay.
That is one thing that if you can hold off, that is something that is better spent. It's a better buy if you do it on your own. And a lot of times you can plan with that builder to refinish that space later, and they can do the stub ups, they can do the framing and all that kind of stuff that you need. Can stub up some of your electrical and put you in place to do that at a later time.
And your plumbing, right? Is that what a stub up is?
Okay. I'm sorry. Stub up for future plumbing.
Okay.
And you can have your designs ready to go. And that builder, I mean, it's in your slab, and it's going to cost something, but that is something that you would get a much better buy if you did it on your own and finish it later. And your framework's already in place, and it doesn't take that much more to put in, electrical, finish out, put your sheetrock on, put your flooring, and all that kind of stuff in. So that's something that would make sense to finish later on. And a lot of your builders will work with you because that's a big expense. Hey, we just spent a lot of money on this $500,000 house. We're kind of tight. We don't want to put another $40,000 into finishing that basement space that we don't need right now. But we would like to put an entertainment room, a bar, another bedroom at some point in time. And you make plans to make arrangements to do that when the time is right.
All right, we talked about things you shouldn't spend on. Okay, what about negotiating the sales price in a fluctuating market? Is there even room to negotiate with the builder, or is there a way to do it?
Yes and no.
Okay. That's not helpful, Rob, but go ahead.
The appropriate answer is it depends.
Okay.
Well, and I've been licensed for the last 3 years, and the new construction and real estate has been a different market, absolutely, in the past 3 years.
Right.
New builders were not even paying attention to agents. To buyers agents. They cut our commission. They didn't need you. They didn't have inventory. They had waiting lists for people you had to put a deposit on to get on a waiting list. And again, they cut our commissions. And now in the past 8 months, the worm has turned, and we're getting incredible commissions offered to bring buyers in. We're getting bonuses offered. We're getting all kinds of stuff. I put out several memes that now the builders are wanting to welcome us back into the fold. So during COVID and this past crazy 2.5 years, there was no negotiating on the price.
Right.
And if the many builders couldn't control their costs, and they were writing escalation clauses and certain things into the contracts where they could increase the price according to the increase in price of materials. So, and if you didn't like it, they said tough. And those contracts are written every bit in the builder's favor. And there's nothing in the buyer's favor in that builder's contract.
Mm-hmm.
So for the past 3 years, there was no negotiating. There was absolutely nothing. Before that, with homes sat on the market, and I mean, past 3 years, people have not been building spec homes. They were bought or they were gone. They did not hit the ground as spec homes. Everything was pre-sold or had a waiting list. But recently, we started. Now we're getting inventory again, and stuff is sitting on the market. And builders are doing flash sales. They're doing all kinds of stuff. So now the market has turned again. That yes, there is some negotiating room. Hot neighborhoods, no, there's still not any negotiating room. But if a property is a finished home and it's been sitting on the market, then absolutely there is room, and you bid. We're going back to the way we did stuff 5 years ago, where you can negotiate on homes that are sitting there. And if it's a popular neighborhood, you're not going to negotiate on a pre-sale either.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. But now, if something's on the ground and it's been sitting on the ground for 30, 45, 60 days, yes, there is negotiating room, and you can offer a lower price, and chances are you'll have it picked up if that house has been sitting on the ground and there's more inventory in that neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. All right, back to models and upgrades, because this is the last one in that process. So like you pick everything, you got to put more money down with your upgrades. At least we did.
That's correct.
So then you're signing the contract. So like, are there any gotchas or terms in that contract when you agree and start paying that we should know about, or anything we should be looking for? Because the contracts are really only in the builder's favor, not the buyer's favor.
Well, it's in the buyer's favor. I mean, I'm sorry, it's completely opposite. It is in the builder's favor. And a couple of things I don't like about them. They have in almost every builder's contract, they've got written in, they can contact the buyer without your permission and without your knowledge, so they can cut you out of the daily back and forth. And sometimes those buyers need your input in there. Gotchas, a lot of times the builder can cancel that contract at any point in time, and you don't have any recourse. They can give you your money back, but you have zero recourse. And it's
you know what? I saw that last year because of how crazy things got, that builders were canceling on buyers that were there from like the previous year because the home is like way more valuable now. And just screw the buyer. And that was it.
Right. Way more valuable. And the contracts and the down payments and everything was written when lumber and appliances and building material was cheaper too. So the cost of building that home after signing that contract, you're on a waiting list, and it may be 3 to 4 months before that home gets started. And now the price of materials has gone up, and people were canceling contracts because the price of materials had gone up $60,000 to build that house. And they were canceling contracts and putting them back out on the market for that higher price. And in the builder's defense, they were losing money. And I don't know what the right answer to that is, but they can't sell a house they're going to lose $40,000 on and have a whole neighborhood of them. So I don't know what the answer to that is, because I've seen clients sitting there waiting. My last clients had just finished, closed 6 months ago. They were in a 2-year process to get their
2 years? 2 years.
2 years. Yeah.
Wow. Holy cow.
And some of that was them looking around, and they were on a waiting list to get the lot they wanted. They wanted a preferred lot. We were able to, with me being able to stake their lots and put their house corners on the lot, they got the absolute best lot in the neighborhood, and they were very, very happy with it. But once all their deposits and the contract was signed and everything else, it took 4 months to get started on the build. So I mean, it was a crazy time. I mean, and I had a hiring client looking at a $2 million build, and they were releasing 5 lots every 2 to 3 months.
Oh wow.
So it was crazy. And that kind of build can literally take a year.
Right.
And it was going to be 6 months to a year before they got started. And I was finding it hard to fathom I could sell a $2 million house and not get paid for literally over 2 years. I'm like, I could be doing something else by then.
Right. I can't fathom. I don't know. Again, I feel like there's that pressure of people think their house needs to look a certain way or needs to be this big, and whatever people choose to spend their money on is fine. But I feel bad for buyers because I feel like there's this societal pressure that your house needs to look this way. And I'm here with my Formica countertops 10 years later, like totally fine. Like I do, I guess to each their own, right? I don't want to sound like some Dave Ramsey, watch what you spend your money on, because I can't stand him. But I do think that we need to be more cautious and like realistic about how big are we building? Do we need that much space? Like, do you really need to spend that extra $40,000 on this countertop when like in 10 years, maybe you could do something? I don't know, just my opinion, but I do feel like we're in a society where like you're pushed to have things look a certain way, and it doesn't need to be that way.
Right.
At the end of the day, nobody really cares what your home looks like. People might like it on Instagram, but like nobody really cares,
I'm in hundreds of homes every year, and your home looks like the average home, and it's going to be messy most of the time,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not going to be a showpiece most of the time. And those people that have their homes immaculate all the time have either got too much money or way too much time on their hands.
Or they're lying. They take a picture and then like their kids come home and it's like papers here, stuffed animals here. Yeah. It's not, there are people that even like stage their home, take pictures, and then like return all that stuff back to Home Goods, like after they're done taking, you know what I mean? Like, it's just
absolutely.
not like comparison is the thief of joy. I swear. I just get off of Instagram when you're building. Just get off. If you're buying, just get off of all of it and stop comparing yourself.
Social media is not reality. That's a fact.
Right. I could go on about that forever. The people that have become popular, especially on TikTok, for certain aspects of real estate that aren't, what they're saying is not matching what's happening. And then everyone's like following. And you're like, wait a minute, like, the housing market crashed people, and it's just, I don't know. Let's go back to the building process. So we are picking the model, we picked the upgrades, we signed the contract. What should you be doing during the build process? I feel like we kind of touched on it, but
we did. During the build process, just communicating, stay in touch with the builder, the superintendent, the salesperson. The salesperson is always going to be your first point of contact. Most builders don't want you contacting the superintendent directly. Okay. Most of them want you to work through the agent, and that be the communication channel. But it's about communication. And if you don't have communication, that may be one of your first red flags that that this may not be the builder for you. So
right.
The main thing, making sure progress is being made steadily. If it's not, is there a valid reason? Are my appliances on back order? Are my flooring on back order? Cabinets, are we having trouble with cabinets? Cabinets, windows have been a big thing lately. Are they on back order? Where are we? What can I expect? Can I get a weekly update of where we are? So
right, because that could delay your closing. So, and if you're going to get delayed, you got to know that, because you got to plan for that, especially if you're renting or if you're trying to sell. One thing I did want to mention was take pictures before the drywall went up, which came in handy when we couldn't figure out where the radon pipe was going. We found it because of our pictures. So it was very helpful. So I think that's important. So hanging stuff, knowing where the pipes are, knowing where the air ducts are, having those pictures were helpful.
Right. And down the road, if you want to take out a wall, if you want to expand a room, if you want to change something that's load bearing, hey, here's the pictures. You can talk to your contractor and say, this is what we're getting into. This is what's here.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And then while you're doing it, be smart financially. Don't open credit cards and make big purchases. Wait, please wait, because you're going to F up your credit score and then it's going to get messy. Don't do it.
Yeah, you're under contract, so you need to treat it like any other contract. No new purchases, no job change, no credit. You certainly don't need to show up if you can avoid it to the closing with a new car. Just that kind of stuff. Unless you chose another agent, and please show up with a brand new car to closing.
Right. Let's talk about getting to closing, and now we can circle back to the story I shared in the beginning of the salesperson telling their buyer without telling them they don't need an inspection, which I think is a bunch of baloney. But your thoughts, please.
Right. I have never let anybody purchase new construction without an inspection. Accidents and mistakes happen all the time. Poor building practices happen all the time. A municipal inspector inspects for code and inspects for safety. They do not inspect for quality. So, and that being said, sometimes your builder says, hey, this is all, if your inspector picks up something that's not per building code or not for safety issue, we're not going to handle it. So that's a little bit of the double-edged swords you get in there, but you know what you're getting into, and you know, without having your independent inspection, you don't know that there's something missing on that roof line that you hadn't been able to see. So it's just like having your own agent. You need to have your own representation, and they're going to pick something up. They're going to pick up pages on every single new build. Every single new build is going to have 35 pages of an inspection report. Every one of them. It's going to happen.
We were awful. We would come like the week before we closed. And if there were like there was like a big scratch on our wood floor, I put some tape on there. There was a big dent in the wall, put some tape on there. I'm like, hey, I get accidents happen, but like I'm paying a lot of money for this brand new home.
Sure.
And there's already dings and scratches and things messed up. Luckily for us, I will say you are in a greater benefit, or if you are in phase 1 building your home, than if you are in the last phase. So we were phase 1 and our contractor had to stick around for another year. And so if he hated us, because I could tell he'd drive with his truck with his like head down low, because if something was wrong and we couldn't get a hold of the warranty department, because that's like torture to do so, we would flag him down and be like, hey, like, this isn't working. They never came to fix this. And I'm sure he hated it and I felt bad and he probably couldn't wait to get out of our neighborhood. But,
right.
When you're in the final phase and they pack up and they're gone, you are solely warranty department. And the warranty department is like pulling teeth to get anybody to come out and fix your stuff. You
are SOL at that point.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
right.
And I tell all my customers, don't be a jerk, but be the squeaky wheel, because the squeaky wheel does get the attention, and it's your home. You deserve to move into a brand new home in brand new condition. If you've got a gouged driveway, if somebody putting the sod in your yard, put the bobcat with forks on the driveway and gouged up your driveway, have that repaired. You're paying for a new home. Scratches on the wall, gouges in the floor, have that fixed, have that addressed before you move in. Delay closing if you need to. That builder does not want to delay closing any more than you do. The one thing you have to hold over their head is, hey, we need this. Don't be a jerk about it, but stand your ground and be consistent and confident that we need this fixed before we can close. And most of them are going to turn everything over to get that taken care of.
And I think too, the warranty on the home is sketchy at least in our experience.
Absolutely. Yes.
We had a big water bubble in our grass, which thank God my neighbor told me, because I didn't notice it. He's like, hey, do you know you have like a hill growing and it's kind of like a waterbed in your front yard? I was like, did not notice that. And it was something wrong with the connector from the city water to our house, right?
Oh, wow.
The copper piece was broken apparently. And the warranty department was like, actually, like if you want to have someone pay for that, you'll have to contact the company because it's the piece that messed up. We didn't mess up. So they're responsible, not us. And I'm like, oh my God, I just have this $2,000 bill and nobody wants to pay it. So I see that buyers are like, don't worry about like inspection. You have your 1-year walkthrough and you have your warranty, but like, that's not going to cover everything. And to have them fix stuff after a year, if you see a scratch and a year later, you're like, hey, you got to fix that scratch. They're probably going to be like, I don't know. I did that. It's been a year. Like you probably did that. I'm not fixing that. So yeah, squeaky wheel. Absolutely. Not nasty. Because if you're nasty, they're probably not going to call you back.
Get everything you can done before closing, because after that, it gets more and more difficult because it goes to another department. And again, while everybody's in the neighborhood, it's the easiest time to get it fixed. Even if you're in your 1-year home builder warranty period, get it taken care of as soon as you can. A lot of them will say, hey, and certain things they say, hey, kind of kind of wait and see how everything does, because that first week, don't have everybody in there to fix your house that first week, because there's more problems going to develop that next couple of weeks. Your cabinets are going to get off, something's going to happen, that kind of stuff. Live in there a little bit and then start having those items fixed and taken care of, and definitely do everything you can to have it done by the 1 year date, because at that point in time, they want to be done with it.
Yep.
Unless it's a true safety issue that's going to get them sued, they're going to be hands off.
Yeah. That 1 year they came in, they fixed all our nail pops, and that was it. That was all they did. And I'm like, I'm so glad we didn't waste money on like painting really nicely, because they came and fixed our nail pops with this like pink plaster. And so we just picked like whatever came with the house. So we didn't upgrade any paint, because we had to repaint the whole house, because we had nail pops in like every like stairwells, the living room, like every house. I'm glad we didn't waste money and we just waited, because we got to do it all over again. So
right, and that's a big thing, because on nail pops, they're only going to come. I don't know how many times they address yours, but on some of our track builders, they're only going to come out a certain number of times. So you don't want to come out there and fix those in this room the first month, and the second month you've got more, and third month, and then the next 8 months you've got stuff that develops and nail pops in every other room. We're done. We've already come out there 3 times. We're not going to do it again. So, and a lot of times the builder will advise that, and they'll give you some helpful advice about your warranty and how to take care of your own stuff. And as a builder, personally, we've seen some crazy stuff. We've gotten a call a year and a half, 2 years later, said, "Hey, there's some weeds in my yard. What are you going to do about it?" Like, well,
weeds?
We have gotten warranty calls, weeds in the yard. And we're like, we can suggest you to call somebody, or you can go to Home Depot and
get some weed spray. Right.
Yes. We've gotten calls about a squeaky mailbox a year after the fact. And we have said, okay. And we have dropped off a can of WD-40 in the mailbox.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You get some of that kind of stuff. And the joke in the building industry, if you never build the perfect house and you never finish it. A house is always changing. It's always fluid. So in the building industry, we talk about you never finish a house. At some point in time, you just walk away. So stuff's going to happen. Maintenance is going to happen. Stuff's going to happen all the time. So what you expect is a new house. You try to get everything. You're paying for a new house. You need to expect that new house and settle for nothing less. You're paying for it. At that time, it's more than likely the biggest investment you have in your life.
The one thing I wanted to talk about before we get off, because we talked about inspections, I have seen so many home inspectors do videos recently of new construction homes and the amount of issues that they have seen. And they keep mentioning the past 2-3 years, how they feel it's gotten worse. So I wanted to know from your opinion, do you see that? And if so, why is quality maybe not being held high versus maybe 10 years ago?
I have a very strong opinion on this, because I know it backwards and forwards. We are working with the best building materials we have ever worked with, and we are working with the worst craftsmanship we have ever worked with. We don't have career tradesmen anymore. We're trying to throw up houses so quickly, so efficiently, and people are being discouraged from coming to blue collar jobs. We used to have the framer that was 55 years old on the job. We don't have those anymore. We had the 60-year-old building superintendent that worked for a large building company that was a career guy. We don't have that anymore. In my area, if you found it's very rare. Now we have a couple, but you don't have anybody over 45, 50 years old that's a career building superintendent, and they make good money. They make 6 figures with bonuses and everything, right? And we don't have that anymore. We have the younger generation. A lot of people are building through email, building from the truck. They don't get out on the job site. They didn't do the trades themselves. These career builders, if you talk to them, at some point in time, they were a sheetrocker, they were a framer, they were a foundation guy. They had some experience in the trade, and they smart, hard workers, and got promoted, and they're career building superintendents. And we don't see that. That's my opinion. We don't see the craftsmen in the concrete industry. We've got a lot of Hispanic workers, fantastic guys, but we're getting into another generation of them. And we used to have, when I was growing up, We had the finisher that he didn't pull concrete. He was the tradesman. He pulled out and he had his black bag with his finishing tools that looked like the doctor coming to visit your house. And that's the way he treated it. And he was a specialist. And we don't have those people in our industry anymore.
Yeah. I find it fascinating. There was that big push, like, you must go to college. You must go to college. And I tell my kids now, like, hey, I'm not going to push you to go, because in that same breath, like plumbing, like you can't find good plumbers, or, eventually it's going to get to a point where like plumbing mechanics, those tradesmen are probably going to make more money than I ever did coming out of college because they're not around. Right. And a good one is like something you want to hold on to. Like the people that fix my car, like I will take them muffins every time I'll do whatever they want, because like it's hard to find someone you trust to do the right job that is going to do it the right way. So I was wondering about that, because the videos I see, I'm like, man, it's not like.
And I've got another. And that being said, this flows back to, and I had this discussion with my brother. And again, he has been employed by a track builder, in my opinion, a very good one, but we've both worked in and around track builder. And that's my experience. He's a custom builder. So he builds anywhere from 10 to 25 houses a year.
Okay.
So he's got a little bit different experience, but we've both been in with the larger track builders. The people you hear the most complaints about, the large builders and everything else, no builder wants to do a bad job. They want to build it for, as I don't want to say cheaply, as efficiently as they can, and make a good profit and make a good living. Nobody wants to hear their people complaining about their builds. So nobody does a bad job intentionally. But it's that career person that's not there anymore. Your superintendent on site, your building superintendent, in my opinion, makes the biggest difference of whether you have a good build in your house or a bad build in your house. A good experience. You can have the best superintendent in the world with the worst building company, and you're going to have a fantastic house, because we're all using the same materials within a certain scope. You could have the absolute top end builder with a poor building superintendent. He is the one on the job. He's the one that schedules your subs. He's the one that approves the job the subs do. And if that guy's not there, if that guy's not on the site paying attention to your job, you're going to get a poor build. If he sees something that's like, we're going to let that go, that contributes to a poor build. So in my opinion, the biggest thing that determines whether you have a quality build on your house or not is the quality of your supervision on site. That is in my opinion, that is the number one thing that determines whether you're satisfied with your house or not.
All right. What did we miss? I feel like we talked a lot of good stuff here. Oh, what about a pre-drywall inspection? Yay or nay? Needed or not needed?
It's always a good idea. I don't know if it's cost effective for what they're going to pick up. If you feel like you're comfortable spending the money, spend it. I
wonder if there's a way you could work out a deal with your home inspector to like come out and do that, knowing that you'll use them again.
Probably. And again, that goes back to the agent having a good relationship with trusted inspectors. And again, I know I can name 25 good quality inspectors now, because, I meet every inspector. I talk to every inspector that goes to my clients' houses, and I get the synopsis, and I'm able to communicate that better to my client about what's truly important in their inspection and what's not, because they see a 70-page inspection for a house, and they're like, oh my God, this is a disaster. And it's not. There'll be 3 issues that we really need to address, and the rest is it's a paint chip. It's hey, it's a little bit of caulk here. It's not an issue. So
it's like your own punch list after you close. That's what we looked at as like, at least for the townhouse that we bought before we built, what can I do down the road? Like, what do I have to get done? What do I want to ask for money for? And what are some things I can do, like, as the months go on after we close, right?
Absolutely. What am I getting into? I need a professional eye to tell me what I'm getting into. I'm a builder. I'm sitting in my house now. I bought it through a short sale. It was a 4-year-old house. It was destroyed. It was a mess. I felt like I knew everything that was in this house, but I couldn't. Before I closed on it, they wouldn't let me go through it again. It was a hoarder situation. It was crazy. but they were going to allow my inspector in there, and we were purchasing it from the bank, and it was a short sale, so they were taking a loss on it, so they weren't touching anything.
Right.
My inspection for, okay, I need to know what I'm getting into. I'm buying this house, but I need to know what I've got to take care of after the fact. So,
Right.
I mean, it's your punch list. And, good or bad, the inspections are, a lot of inspectors are not making a recommendation. Safety, of course, they'll make a recommendation on something, but their job is to state what needs to happen. And it's your position to do with what you want to do with that knowledge.
Right. Right. They're supposed to find, their job is to find everything wrong.
Their job is to find everything wrong. And people think they're nitpicking a house. They're not nitpicking a house. It's their job to find every single issue. And it's your job as the consumer to determine what that means to you.
Right. There's a couple agents. My friend was an inspector, right? And she gave me all kinds of stories. And the one agent, she told the lady, like, just stop calling me, because this agent would call her and yell at her for like being too thorough. The one time this agent called her and asked her for the report first so that she could edit it before she sent it to the buyers, she's like, absolutely not. Will not do that. And that agent is like a top producer with a giant billboard in my city. So I'm like, man, like if people knew that that's what they did, which goes back to our whole conversation about the whole industry, which is just,
right.
We'll have to do a separate podcast on that again. We got plenty of things to discuss. Wow. All right. So is there anything else you think that buyers should know new construction that we didn't discuss?
Two things I think is a must about new construction is get you a buyer's agent, but not just any buyer's agent. Don't get your mother's sister's cousin who just got your license. Do a little bit of research. Get somebody like me that's experienced in new construction, that knows how the process is different in purchasing with new construction than it is purchasing a resale home. So get somebody that's experienced in reconstruction as your agent. If you don't use an agent, you're not getting a discount. They're still got that money built in that price. You're not going to get a discount because you don't have your own agent. They're going to pay for that agent. Use it. You need your own representation, and you need that inspection. The perfect house has issues that need to be dealt with. Every house has some kind of issue. The best builder can miss something. You need your own inspection. Those two are non-negotiables. You need your own agent representation, and you need your own independent inspection. I don't care what they say, you need your own inspection.
Right. So basically the story, as we come full circle, that salesperson telling their buyer they don't need an inspector is full of BS. Full of it.
Money, trying to make life easy on themselves and discount problems. They've probably had somebody up the line tell them, we don't want to do this. We don't want them picking up problems. If they do this, we're going to have to go back on the house. It might not close on time. They're just going to cause problems. We don't need it. We do the job right. It's been inspected, but that's all baloney.
Yeah. Get an inspection.
The best builder makes mistakes. We're human. We make mistakes. The worst people are trying to cover up stuff. And as you see, these people that the inspectors on the social media, they're showing you problems. They're not making these up. These are true things that are happening.
Right.
So I mean, it happens. So the inspection, in my opinion, for a new sale is some of the best money spent.
Have a story or a question you want to share? Hit us up at therealestatereplay.com.